Hi all, I've teamed up with Greenscape Outdoors on this stunning project in this suburban area. This is a really lovely sort of suburban red brick development, and we're talking about all the soft planting that is included in these areas. So Andy himself has done all the hard landscaping, so he's done all the porcelain paving here. It's all matched in then with these natural granite curbs, which are absolutely stunning. And then there's some Corten raised beds in and around the area with some outdoor seating. I'm brought in to do all the soft landscaping. So there's only 3 items Andy had sourced himself just before I came along. So it was the Pruna Lusitanica hedge, there is lavenders down at the stepping stones, and then there's a liquid amber stripe of Fluo standard just over beside the outdoor, or what will be the outdoor cooking area. This project isn't actually finished yet, but I will talk you through all the soft planting and what has been included and why it's been picked. So let's get started. So the whole purpose of this area was an idea that Andy had seen when he was in New Zealand, of kind of like a hotel where the glass came down and then there was all this like soft planting and water on the outside. So you'll find that this plot is triangular in shape, and some of the beds and paving actually pick up on these triangles. So you'll see it's quite a lot of formations of isosceles triangles. Some of it's intentional and some of it's just natural to sort of tie in with the joints and how this location is formed. But yeah, back to the planting. We went with this kind of really tall planting at the back, and it sort of tapers down. So we have these stunning Japanese anemones here at the back. That's really good for your end of summer going into autumn planting, along with the agapanthus. There's also some Hofna in there. And the reason we went with the Hofna is because it's orange in colour. It picks up on a heuchera marmalade at the front, and this is all to tie in with them with the Corten, and it's also to tie in with the red brickwork on the property. So the planting colour is also intentional to what is going around the rest of the space. Things then like the Omphiophogon here at the front. Again, this will pick into the dark fencing at the back, and again, this is one of the evergreens that's within the project. Instead of going for box balls, we have these really cool dwarf Thua balls, and we also have little cryptomeria spheres as well. So that's just a good alternative to boxwood. It really ties in with this planting scheme because it's quite contemporary. Instead of going for something like a box ball that are now sort of prone to things like box blight, and sometimes they don't do well in all conditions, there is good alternatives out there if you're looking for spheres or nice evergreen structures. And then there's other things in here like the Salvia nemosa, which picks up in and around the rest of the planting. Same as the agapanthus, this will duplicate in the other planting beds. And kind of all these blues and purples, then that all links in with the paving. So we have these kind of nice grey and blue tones, but that's also a really good sharp contrast with the orange. And that really complements the Corten that features then in these raised beds. So yeah, looks really sharp. So this is a big sort of Corten steel cube here that's kind of centered in the paving. This is the one thing that breaks up all the triangles within the site, and then there's kind of this lower L-shaped bracket going around. So like the other smaller triangular bed, we have things like those little cryptomerias again, the heucheras, the Omphiopogons, some azaleas in here as well. So that'll carry us through into next year for our spring colour. They flower white. The clients are putting in white outdoor garden furniture. So again, it's kind of all linking through there. Some more interesting pieces then, like these chocolate cosmos. Again, that all ties in with that Corten. It goes really well then with things like the Hofna that we've mentioned previously. Again, the Salvia nemosa in there. There's some geums there in the corner. That's geum totally tangerine. So they're going over now. They'll go over for the season, but for next year, that covers you then for your spring planting. Other evergreens then, we have this Carax. This is just a bronze Carax. It looks really cool. Again, it's complementing that heuchera. It's complementing the rust, and that's like one of your evergreens. So it's keeping you going the whole way through the season. To break it up, but to link in with the purples and blues, in this area we have the Privoskia, that's the Russian sage, and it's going to take you right through into the autumn, right through into hopefully October. Again, that will be weather dependent, but we'll see what happens. Andy is putting in an LED strip around the top of, or around the inner side of the Corten cube, so that's going to bring in all your night lighting, and that's just going to add like another mood to the space, so that's going to look really cool. And then of course we have like the one statement tree, so we went for an Acer. Now this is an Acer that Andy was able to pick up from the nursery. It's an Acer dissectum, so it has this really fine scissor chopped up leaf. It looks really good. It's kind of blowy today. It was quite wet last night just before filming this morning, but that's going to be a really cool Acer. My preference was green because it picks up on the Lusitanica hedge again, so we're linking all the greens through. I wouldn't have done a red acer in here. I know a lot of people go for red, and I always say you can do like red foliage in urban settings, but I think green is far more nicer in this location. The foliage in that is going to go really orange then in the autumn, and again that orange will pick up in your niphophna. Provided it's dead-headed, you'll keep getting additional flowers on the niphophna, and then that will all like link through. The green in this occasion is just a more natural tree. It just sort of ties in better. Again, it goes really well with the red brickwork. Whereas a red acer, I felt would have jarred too much. It would have been trying to sort of compete too much, and I think it would have been lost with the red brickwork in this property. So I think, you know, red acers are good for certain projects. In this occasion, I feel green was the better choice. My personal preference. So lastly, Andy and his team have done this L-shaped wraparound bed. This is really cool because this is the actual point of the triangle. There's amazing cuts here in the cedar cladding, which is running across the top. This will get stained, and that will sort of complement the steelwork as well. All the Corten, by the way, is still to orange. It's oxidized, so it's still in its darker form, but as it weathers into the space, it's going to orange up really more. And again, we've went with the agapanthus here in this area. It's slightly more restrictive planting here just because it's a thinner bed, but this lower stretch of the L shape is actually in mostly full shade, so all this lower stretch here is shade, and then this area is actually morning sun and midday sun, so that's where all your floral comes in. The blue is picked up in the hosta cyclone, so that's a hosta that's actually suited for full sun. Again, Carax bronze, just tying in then with the seating, and these are used on the two end caps of where the seating ends. The ferns, the Dryopsis, again, it's just a really cool foliage feature there. Again, green obviously picking up on the acer as we talked about previously, and that's going to go really well with the cladding. And as the cladding over the years like silvers down and sort of naturalises in, that sort of lightness of that green, because it's a really light, almost yellow green, will go really well with how that ages. There's an astelia in the corner. There's two astelias in this project. There's one behind the acer and there's one down in this lower corner. Again, that's just another sort of form of grass, which is going to look really cool in there. It's one of the few, it's not actually a grass, but it's one of the few kind of grass-like plants that does quite well for shade. And then lastly, the Hacknacloa, which is Japanese grass, which is kind of picking back up into that New Zealand theme that we talked about at the very start over at the smaller triangular bed. This is a really good rustly grass. I'm not sure if the audio will pick this up, but as it blows, it rustles. These are quite hard to come by sometimes in Northern Ireland. I was kind of really pleased when I picked these up. It's a really good grass, and over time, that's just going to all sort of spew out kind of close to the seating area, so as you're sitting here it's quite tactile, so, you know, you just want to sort of reach out and touch it. So yeah, really pleased that we got that. And Hacknacloa is one of the few grasses that'll do in shade, so again there's more of it planted here in this lower section. So yeah, that is all the soft landscaping that is included on this project. I say Andy from Greenscape Outdoors has done all the hard landscaping. I have only incorporated the planting, but this has been a really good collaboration. I think this is going to look fantastic. I'll probably come back in October to do the bulb planting, so there'll be allium purple sensation will be included into these borders if the client, you know, wants to do that. And I think loads of orange tulips in through this again. It'll just keep us going then into May next year, and that'll be all your really sort of vibrant oranges again. At this point, all the Corten will have oxidized, and that'll all tie in really well, so it's going to look very sharp. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Any questions, leave a comment below.